a live stream on Saturday night. We've got some crazy stuff going on tonight. Another great ARC commentary for you. Benefits from MISFIT line division. I'm going to get started a little early. I wanted to open up the chat with you all. I wanted to chat and go over the weekend's activities that we've got planned, things that are coming up for our kingdom and all kinds of stuff. People are starting to jump in. Domerkin, Lover, first, almost first. I see you as second, but you're first in my heart. I appreciate that. Wrench, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so we are freshly minted inside of MFLD again, bringing you another iteration, another chapter in MISFIT line division, ARC history. Congrats on the amazing ARC win. Yeah, it was definitely crazy, And speaking of which, so Gekko is going to be also dual casting this with me. We were going to do some kind of a dual voice feature. I definitely want to do that with him and bring that to you guys and see how you like it. I think our schedules just kind of got tied up today with, we had some more stuff going on our server on K16. Obviously, we had that ARC come up, and it was just a lot of moving parts. But rest assured, I do want to partner up with Gekko and see if we can get together and do some kind of a dual cast stream with you guys, because I do like the way that Gekko does his live stream for ARC commentaries. He does a very good job of explaining and just kind of breaking down the strategy and why things move and where they move and when they're going to move and that kind of thing. No more glitches, please. So please tell me if this is starting to glitch for you already. I think so. Look, guys, this is all fairly new to me. I'm just going to put it out there and pull the newbie card. I've been doing this for maybe 3 months, and I still make mistakes almost every single time. I forget something, or I don't line something up the way it's supposed to be, or I really do apologize for that ARC upload that I did earlier today being glitchy. I think it just had to do with my Mac. It was filling up with all the videos that I'm doing with you guys, and I hadn't restarted it for like a week or so, and it needed to be rebooted and refreshed. I have done that, so I'm hoping that this is going to be nice and clean for you all, hopefully. Jason Bourne, hello, welcome to the stream. Butu Aqua, hello. Yes, definitely no more glitches. Yeah, Bon Gaming, I've casted quite a few ARCs, but MISFIT line division definitely has been one that I've tried to keep up with as much as possible. They're good to me and my channel, and they've got really good people inside of their alliance, so I wanted to make sure I follow some of the best players that are in the game, and this is definitely an alliance that has some of the best. Declan, I haven't opened YouTube up all day on my iPad, and the second I do, your stream auto comes on. Sometimes it just works out the way it's supposed to work out, Declan. I appreciate you joining the stream. Thanks. What a great win against High. Yeah, it was definitely clutch. Second ARC in a row where it just last second activity, last second intense action, just really worked out really well. Good, thank you, Domerkin. I appreciate the feedback. Jason, welcome, Agoon. Oh, Agoon, yes, welcome to the stream, bud. You're going to be live and local here on the YouTube the stream today for your ARC. Hope you put on a good show for everybody. Leo, it looks like your ARC is about to start as well. Good luck. Jacques, what's up? Leos, yes, that's one thing I will say. Our ARC, the ARCs that we put up, we definitely do have some very, very intense battles, because usually we're getting paired up with alliances that are bigger than us from a power standpoint, and we have to get scrappy. We got to get really scrappy with our strategies and our tactics and what we're doing, and it's just it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get to where what we're doing. Beta, hello, welcome to the stream, bud. Appreciate you joining. Looks like you're going to get featured nice on this as well. I saw you on the last one I did for you guys, and you definitely killed it. Lots of good rallies. Hopefully that's going to be the same thing this time too. Nice Ark against High. Yeah, it seems to be the consensus. High put up a really good fight 2 Arks in a row. Can't say enough about those guys. They do a great job. Definitely had us on our heels at the very beginning. We didn't have a whole lot of raw firepower in the Ark this week, so it was definitely a clutch pullout at the end. It had nothing to do with anything other than just everything falling into place for us the way it needed to fall into place. So looking forward to the show. Have an Ark tomorrow, 13 UTC. Good luck to you, Bon Bon. Leoj, you guys are legend. That's the plan. We play hard. We cast hard. We record hard. That kind of thing. We want to bring you guys good content. I'm in a fantastic alliance that allows me to do that. So very, very good deal. Taylor Bucks, welcome to the stream. Appreciate you joining. I'll be seeing you a lot on this stream as well, I'm assuming. How many T5 players does MISFIT have? Well, let's go through it. So it looks like almost everybody from R4 up is T4 with the exception of Hampone and the Geo. Geo's pretty close. Sorry guys, I'm still getting over these allergies. I apologize if my voice is a little messed up and I got to cough a couple times. Might be a noob question, but what power do you consider someone a T5 without a scout report? 40 million is about the time where they may have T5 unlocked. High 40s, low 50s is when they actually have T5 troops. Wrench. Looks like the man, the myth, the legend, Misfits Lion King is in the house. You got Betta, you got Misfits Lion King, you've got all kinds of folks from Misfits in the channel, in the stream. Little Marie's in the stream from my alliance. Man, this is great. AK-47, finally made it, bud. We have Ark today. Wish me luck. Good luck, AK-47, on your Ark. I hope you do good and win tons of sculptures. Yeah, I think 10 might be lowballing it, right, Misfits? 10's got to be lowballing it. What's the requirement to join Misfits? Be good and reach out to Misfits and show them what you got, and I'm sure he'll give you a shot. So there's your boy Betta, Misfits Lion King. You got Tanglin. Wow, Holden. Lady Dragon is right there with T5. 5-5 Open, another solid T5 player. Stormfraz, huge T5 player. CB Chubby Ninja, great T5 player. MF Albedo, T5 player. L Bunch of Chinese, T5 player. Pink Mouse, T5 player. Finfet, Richard, Ilmi, all right there at T5. Tons of solid 20s and 30s players. KS88 is right there. Megalodon right there. Lots of solid 30 players. Yes, this is a strong alliance, guys. This is what one of the stronger alliances in a continent looks like. There's a couple massive ones, right? You've got JWM and UCS that have really pushed the boundary of what an alliance is supposed to be. But Misfits has a solid core, and they've got a strong player base. And that, in combination with the power that they can push around, is really what takes them over the top. Ricky K, Holden. Okay, that's you then. Okay. I didn't know that was you. You need to put the names together on YouTube and in the game, and I'll recognize you a little bit easier. I did not know that. Leoj, good luck on your Ark as well. No, Big Rick is Big Rick B in YouTube as well. King Talib versus Misfits Lion King. That'd be interesting to see. Pratik, well, welcome to the stream, bud. So yeah, let's I'm not on my main account, guys, so I'm obviously in Kingdom 93 to cast this Ark for Misfit Line Division. So let's talk. We've got a lot going on with KVK. I believe, let's just take a look here. So they just started the Lost Kingdom. This just happened. So 5/24, that was yesterday. So they just got into Zone 1, Misfit did. And they're probably flagging like crazy. They're probably doing all kinds of crystal hunting to try and get a bunch of crystal nodes. Starting to split up the map. I'm sure they've already got a plan for all that, all the mapping and things like that. Declan, I got zeroed and couldn't find anyone doing a Sunday arc, so I missed out on free 10 gold sculptures. That is a terrible, terrible story. I'm sorry to hear that. Hold on. Okay, good. I was looking to see if I got a notification. Pratik, hello, Drago. Can you tell me if it matters whether Herman or YSG is primary? I prefer YSG primary because that starts the ability to hit his rage regeneration and the double damage, the 100% troop damage faster. I prefer that over Herman primary. What Lost Kingdom are they in? I want to say it's... I can't keep up with all this stuff. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all want to answer him? If you can, maybe, I think you're probably to the left. Nope, that's not it. Maybe you're up to the top. Or maybe you're at the bottom. Nope, that's 1092. Maybe you're in the corner. Okay. Okay, I see. They're in Continent 112. Yes. Yeah, Continent 112 on Lost Kingdom for Misfit Lion Division. All right. And there's my awesome little cottage that Misfits Lion King has been so kind to put me up in. I've got a nice little cottage in the country. My lights and everything. It's nice. So, yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff going on. Let's take a look. I haven't even taken a look at his continent yet. Let me take a peek and see what he's got going on. So if he... okay, so this is... Oh, wow. So you guys got the bottom right corner. I need to build up my cottage. I sure do. All right, so it looks like they're already ready, rock and roll. Tons of alliances in here. A suggestion, crystals are going to be at a premium, so you need to make sure that you're not splitting those crystal patches up too much. You want to keep a lot of those inside of maybe 4 total alliances. I think maybe 4 is really kind of the stretching point. Once you get out to zone 2, it obviously opens up, but you're going to need quite a few crystals. That's where we're at right now. We're in zone 2. We're actually about a week away maybe from getting into the center sections here and like Maka and stuff like that. And crystals are the premium resource right now, bar none. All the other resources cost nothing when you're flagging. It's the crystals. Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah, 4-5 is really the sweet spot there. I mean, I see all these fortresses. I know what you're doing, so I got you. Yep. I know exactly what you're doing. Makes total sense. Just make sure you're not sacrificing too many crystals for the extra stuff. That would be my recommendation. I'm sure you're already all over top of that. But for everybody else in the stream that might not be in the Lost Kingdom yet or is just getting into it themselves, make sure that you are placing a priority and placing a large value on the crystal nodes. That's what you need the most of at the beginning, and then as you start to branch out in zone 2, you need them even more because those flags start costing 20, 30, 40, 45,000 is where we're at now, roughly, crystals per flag. So it gets to be quite a hefty sum of crystals getting going with a flag chain. If you want to go across zone 2, it can end up costing you 1 million crystals. So you just need to make sure you're very careful with what you're placing, be very strategic with it, and all that good stuff. Let's check out some of the other kingdoms in here just to see where they're at. These guys look like they're a little bit behind. Haven't really spread out quite like... this looks like a well-organized and well-run kingdom here. This one's looking pretty good too, although a lot of space still not accounted for. Let's see. Look around and look how many whales. So which section should I look at? Rami, I appreciate that, man. Keep watching. I'll keep putting them out if you guys keep watching them. Tahiti is a vacation spot, yeah. I believe it's in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing. I mean, looks pretty good, but also kind of not taking up their entire territory. This one looks like a pretty solid one. RD1, RYLZ, KV, BBF, DSW, Go Plus. Okay, well, this is Swagger's Kingdom, I'm assuming. These guys look like they're on the ball with their flagging for sure. And then up here in top left, you got 2RU, RBR, VOV, TSH, RBR. Okay. Makes sense. Whoops. Hold on a sec. Already streaming. Excuse me, guys. I do apologize. All right, so as far as Misfits goes, let's go back to the main thing. Let's talk about what the strategies are going to be. This is an Ark commentary, a pre-Ark cast. Let's talk about some Ark of Osiris. So what we're doing, and Gekko just messaged me because, again, he's going to be casting it as well. Let me see if he wants to do the voice call really quick. Almas, hi, how are you? So I see the Alliance chat getting busy. Yeah? People getting ready to pull their stuff back, getting their buffs ready, get their presets rolling. So there's a pregame, right? There's a pregame for Ark of Osiris. A lot of it has to do with getting your troops ready. So making sure all your troops are back in your city. You're not farming. There's nothing being healed. You need to make sure that you've got your army expansions on. If you're not doing Ark with army expansion, you're doing it wrong. You need to also make sure you've got some kind of an attack or defense buff on. You also need to make sure that you're using your alliance tech. Drago Saladin and yes, Misfits Lion King, they are allowed. They were allowed in our Ark. I don't know if maybe with you being a later kingdom that they still might not be allowed, but in our Ark, we got rallied with Saladin. So, yeah. Last time it was not. Last time it was blocked, but this week it was. We got hit by quite a few Saladins from high. All right, so it looks like Gekko and I are going to be doing this this voice dual cast on the next one. I'm always up for bringing some different flavors to you guys and see what you guys like to see. All right. All right, sounds good. So we may still do the call. I don't know. Either way, I think that for the most part, when we're talking about, yeah, he's going to give me a call. All right, so let me get out of this Discord so it doesn't go to my computer because you'll never hear it. Let me get prepped on my desk here because I'm still operating on makeshift stuff here, guys. I don't have a fully fleshed out setup just yet like some of the bigger guys. All right. So again, pre-prep, right? Pre-prepping your Ark. I already went over some of it. Getting all your troops back in your city, making sure you're all healed, getting your buffs up, whether it's attack or defense, getting your troop army expansion set up and ready to rock and roll, getting your presets done. That's a big deal. Yeah, Misfits, go ahead and get ready, man. You got a lot of stuff to do. You're leading the lines, man. And again, I do believe you should be fine on Saladin and Genghis Khan because I faced quite a few on the field earlier today. And then finally, again, use your Alliance Tech. Alliance Tech does apply in the Ark of Osiris. So you got a March Speed Alliance tech that you can use. You've got a Defense Alliance tech that you can use. Those are both valid in the Ark of Osiris. You need to make sure you use those. You can't use them both. You can only use one at a time. And that's really all the prep that you need. And again, at this point, most people have done 7, 8, 9 arcs. I don't know how many, to be honest with you, at this point, because I've casted so many and participated in all of them. So we'll see how it goes. Good luck to you, Misfits, and whoever they're going up against. I've seen the power differential. Well, I'm sorry, the matchmaking rating differential, and it's not looking pretty for the opposing team. But I will say, so the matchmaking rating system, so far I'm not impressed. That might need a little bit of tweaking here and there, because one, well, just you'll see in this arc alone, the 2 matchmaking ratings that got paired up probably weren't supposed to get paired up, and then 2, if you saw the arc that I was in earlier, we were within 10 million matchmaking rating points, but they had 10 T5 and we had 3. So I still think there's some tweaks that need to be made. I think overall the raw power was probably a couple 100 million again, 300 million again difference. I'm not sure exactly what the raw power difference was on my last arc, but it's pretty substantial when you got a 7 T5 Delta players. Skywalker, welcome to the stream, bud. So it's a late stream, so it looks like we're probably not going to get too many people in here to start it off. But I think that as the stream goes on, we'll be definitely a lot better off. And plus, we're not glitching like crazy as far as video goes, though. I really do apologize about that, guys, on the last arc. I'm thinking about taking it down just because of how bad it was, but I don't want y'all to miss the ending because that ending was so epic. It was crazy. Let me make sure I'm not missing a call from... Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure that you guys saw the ending because that was a really good ending. And it was a really good arc altogether. I wish you could see the whole thing from my point of view because there was a lot of game-changing moves that were being made on the fly in the middle of the map that would have really been nice for you guys to see. Does Misfits know their opponent? I don't know if they know their opponent. I just know that they know that they are almost double what their opponent is from a matchmaking standpoint. It's 600 and some million matchmaking rating points versus 360 or 380 million matchmaking rating points. So it's going to be difficult for the opponent of Misfits Line Division to do much, especially if the ranking system goes the way I'm thinking it's going to go. So we'll see how this goes. They probably have a few T5 in their alliance, whoever they're fighting up against, but these guys have probably some more. So we'll see how it goes. Domerkin, thanks for sticking around, man. I appreciate you catching it, and don't stay up too late. I'm sure you want to be productive tomorrow as well. Win Sun, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate you joining. So many people joining my stream that are in, I'm assuming, Europe somewhere. So it's almost 11 o'clock here, p.m. for me. So if it's almost 6 for you guys, that's +7. So France, Italy area, maybe Italy. I don't know. Either way, wherever you're at in the world, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate that. I really do. Guys, we are creeping closer and closer towards that 5,500 sub mark. If you have not subbed already, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for the notifications for whenever I bring you guys live streams. I'll be bringing you guys a ton of videos as the days and weeks unfold, especially when it comes to Lost Kingdom content and all that good stuff. 350 in Portugal. Yes. I've always wanted to go there. Senor Ronnie is on the stream. Welcome to the stream, legend. Take a sip. "10 minutes. I must prepare myself for battle. Put me in, coach. Put me in. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go with my solid T1. I know quite a few people in Canada. Okay, so you're on the eastern side of Canada. Rami, 3:50 a.m. and I'm watching your vid, bro. I appreciate you. Again, for those of you that are watching the video from my last arc with High, I apologize. I apologize right now. The bugginess of the video is a little irritating. I do appreciate you supporting me, and I would recommend there's a couple spots that you want to pay attention to. One is definitely the full Archer rally that I sent with YSG and Mechmed. That's a big one. And then also at the end, that's the crazy part that everybody is talking about. And we definitely, I need to preset my 1 March Domerkin, yeah. Definitely want to watch the end because that was a thrilling end. I want to say it started around the hour mark. Just about. So yeah, let's do some buffs and set up. Let's see. I've got a sweet defense buff, so we'll use that. And I've got a 25% army expansion, so I'll use that. Let's see what else I got going on here. Let's go ahead and set up my my 1020 preset. So we're good. We're good. Let's go. Put me in, coach. Let's do it. I promise you, I will do some damage in the arc. My guys are going so many places. Actually, let me train some. Oh, I can't even train any calves. I was going to say, let me train some calves really quick, and maybe I can at least go capture Obelisk for you. That would have been nice. Yeah, Tucker, I don't blame you. Again, if anything, guys, just watch the end. Just watch the end, the reaction, the suspense, the intensity of the fighting. The end actually doesn't glitch too much, if at all, really. I think from about an hour on to the end, it didn't really glitch at all. But yeah, I mean, do what you got to do. I get it. I'm thinking about taking it down because it was so glitchy, to be honest with you. It was intense. It was intense. Looks like we have about 7 minutes left. Got booted twice at the end. Yeah, I got booted twice in the middle. So I'm glad I didn't get booted at the end because I was definitely sitting there with all 5 of my armies, hitting every single army that was trying to catch the Arc Bearer. So I was either slowing them down or instantly killing them with 5 T5 armies, 1.5 million troops sitting there just pounding away. And I had YSG there and Mechmed and AoE, everything. Like everything had AoE. It was a buzzsaw. Cut it up and keep the last 10 minutes. That was a clutch ending. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that too. I don't know. It's just frustrating. It was very frustrating. I was very upset. Everybody can vouch for me on that. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty good arc here. You guys know as well as I do, the very beginning, it's more posturing. It's getting set up on that first layer. It's getting everybody into position to be successful, getting the rally stations set up, identifying your objectives, and getting people in the right place to make those objectives turn into your favor. I was so scared I grabbed the arc and got booted. Luckily, Siren captured it first. Yes, thank goodness. Yeah, we just kept moving the ball a little bit forward, an inch by inch, and it paid off. It paid off. Taylor Bucks, do you know what you're doing? Yeah, so again, you've got some really good rally leaders in this alliance. You've got obviously the leader of the alliance with Misfits Lion King. You've got Super Beta, who's a very solid player with a lot of max commanders, max tech, lots of T5, all that good stuff. You've got a lot of just solid T5 in the alliance that lead different parts of the arc, and they take pieces of it and delegate it out so that nobody has too much to do. So it's a lot easier to manage and maintain throughout an hour of campaign, which is really what an arc is. It's a 1 hour war. So you just need to make sure that you're positioning yourself correctly. Really nice arc. Forget it. You have double power. But thanks for all your videos. Well, you're welcome. I don't know what the first part of that meant, but you're welcome. Glad to make them for you. Hampone, we cannot. I can't ask my people to send nudes. You're welcome to direct message them and see how that goes, though. So again, let's kind of take a peek at the alliance itself. I know just for you guys that are not aware, if you're not already, I'm sure most of you are, for the folks that are watching my stream, these guys are looking for people to migrate to them that are good players. They're looking to take on the entire continent. So they're looking to have basically 2 months of just nonstop war activity, nonstop just pounding people into the ground, organizing rallies and sorties everywhere. I mean, that's the whole point of what these guys are trying to do. And I back that because that's kind of what we do on K16 too. Maybe a little bit more on a smaller scale, but we still do it, and we do it well. Will Drago, how can you stream Ark when we need you killing barbs for stage 2? Declan, trust me, I'm going to be up all night killing barbs and running forts until I have no more AP and no more gems. I promise you, we will get stage 2 done. Stage 2 is the hardest part for you guys that don't know. Stage 2 is the hardest part. So you guys need to focus on that big time whenever it's your turn in your kingdom. Stage 2 of the Lost Kingdom, rebuilding the Crusader Fort. You need to pound through that because we're gonna come up right at the end. I think we're gonna get it, but we might have like an hour left to do this all the stuff on. So we'll see. Excuse me again. All right. Yeah, this is going to be a good one, guys. And again, just to reiterate, these guys are the cream of the crop. So the stuff that you're going to see on this arc is probably going to be something that you may want to, yes, something that you may want to replicate in your own arcs if you decide that you want to be successful. And I'll explain what they're doing because usually I can kind of keep an eye on what they're doing and figure out why they're maneuvering the way they are. And I can explain to you why they're doing what they're doing, and then maybe I can give you some insight into if I was in so-and-so's position, I would do this. And with Misfit's line division, 9 times out of 10, when I say I would do something, that's what they end up doing. Like they already have that in their mind. So it's pretty usually a smooth cast whenever I'm helping out casting Misfits line division because they got solid players. They know what they're doing. They're good strategy folks, and yeah, this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be a really good one. I think we're probably going to be parked in front of the opponent's base at about 30 minutes in, but up until that point, there should be some strategy being put out there, and that's what's going to help them get to the front of that base. So you never know how things can go down. You never know how things are going to happen inside of Ark of Osiris. As most of you have seen, power only goes so far. Sometimes strategy can get you across the finish line, and you only need one more point, guys. You only need one more point to win. You don't need to have a blowout. You just need one more point. Looks like we got about a minute left. So any questions before we hop in? You got about a minute left to ask a couple questions. Any commander questions? Any art questions? Any questions on how to go to Misfits Line Division and join up with them if you are able to? Really nice because always watch your videos, so now we meet one time. Yes. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join me on this live stream, Robert, and yeah, welcome back in the future if you want to join me again, or if you're able to join me. Why didn't Gekko post? I wanted to see from their perspective. I actually talked to him after the arc, and I think he might actually post the recording. We'll see how it goes. I think it would be good to get his perspective from a learning perspective. Like I always love seeing both sides of an arc because I can see what I was doing from my side, and then I have the benefit of having two YouTubers inside of our alliance with Ronnie and I. So I can see my perspective, I can see his perspective, and then usually, when the past 2 weeks at least, or the past 2 arcs at least, I've been able to see the other side's perspective too. So it's really helpful to just kind of do a little after game video time, just trying to see what's going on. I think that he will Skywalker. I really do. Let's see if he called me. Did he call me? And I missed it. I missed a call from Gekko. Let me call him. I'm terrible at answering calls on this thing. I didn't hear it. Let me see if I can message him. All right, so we've got, let's see the blue team over here. This is Misfits Lion Division. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to answer. I'll just leave it calling and see. This is Misfits Lion Division over here. You've got the King. Again, the man, the myth, the legend up front, ready to rock and roll. The Geo leading his top front. Now, it was interesting. So, let me see if I can find. Yeah, there's some R4s in the back. That happened to us in our arc too. We had some of our R4s, which are usually up front here in the front row. They were all the way in the back. I'm curious to see why that's the case. Let's see if there's a way that I can do this. Let me see if I can go on to Gekko's stream as well and tell him to answer the phone. Let's see if we can do this. Technology. The technology can happen. We have the technology. Whoops. All right, so he is on as well. Let me pop on there and say, answer your phone. There we go. Answer your Discord. Let's see what he says.
Yo.
Hey, there he is. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing really well. Doing really well. Just casting. Sounds like somebody else is doing that too.
Who else is doing that too?
You.
Interesting.
Your boy Gekko. That's who's doing it.
I gotta find who else is streaming, and we gotta get rid of them.
That's it. Start elbowing folks out.
Considering the crazy arc we just went through, I hope this one's just as fun.
Oh my goodness!
Chat, can you guys hear Dragothian okay? Let me know, chat.
Yeah, same thing. Can you hear Gekko okay?
I'm raising his volume.
I'm doing it the old school way. I've got you on an iPad by yourself. You have an iPad dedicated to you, sir.
Oh, damn.
Look at you. All right.
What do you know? Did you see how many tier 4s are on each side?
I didn't even get a chance. I was trying to get hooked up with you on the phone.
Oh, well, I can tell you that I see 4 tier 4s on the red side against at least 7 on the Misfit side.
There's 10.
And there's 10. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And out of the HK side has 4 tier 4s. None of them are like above the 60-ish. So that means that their troop count is a bit light. Yeah.
I mean, troop count only goes so far in the arc, right? Once you hit about 65, 70 million, it's just about either whether you need to use healing speed ups or not, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think so. I think that the sweet spot would be probably like 65, 70, like you said. And at that point from there, it's all extra goodies.
It's not having to use healing speed ups, which is great. You can save that for Lost Kingdom.
I've not used a single healing speed up. I was more busy telling people, go here, go there, do this. I didn't even get my 10,000 points. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I was like so stressed about all the buildings and all the everything going on in that arc.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, it's tight. Anyway, we are seeing both teams coming out of the gate quickly. About to go capture their first few buildings. First goal in the Ark of Osiris usually is to get the first set of buildings, the outposts and obelisks, as quickly as possible. I don't see anyone has reached that goal so far. We should be seeing buildings popping up any moment. How would you approach this situation? Are you the guy who sends a one troop march, or you send a full cav march?
Well, I do both. So usually I'm leading one side. So what I do, and it looks like that's what Lion Division is doing right now. They've got 2 rallies heading out right away. I'll send a T1 rally a T1 march of cav, cap my obelisk, and then right behind that I will send a rally to either my own obelisk to make sure it's nice and secure, or I'll send a rally right across the map over to their obelisk to kind of throw them off their game.
So we're seeing right now the Misfits picking up one half of the map kind of on their side, slowly and steadily, both obelisks being taken by them, all 5 buildings, initial buildings being taken by them ahead of the red team. This will give them a little bit of a lead early on. How can this translate? It can translate into either the obelisks being rallied and not being secured while the rally is hitting. It can translate into a lot of other things. Which we need to see how the Misfits react to.
Yeah, I agree. And here's another strategy too, right? So when you're sending these rallies, it gives you a lot of opportunity to adjust. So just like you did in your arc with us earlier today, you were able to send rallies to our obelisk, but then break them off right at the desert altar, which allowed you to have 4 or 5 armies sitting there ready to take the opponent's side objectives. And usually whenever people aren't prepared for that, they're going to have 1, maybe 2 armies sitting there and maybe a fast cav group. So that's going to be an easy way to get some early points on the scoreboard for yourself. And then also have a really solid strategy to have folks up front pushing the opponents back and really putting them on their heels right off the bat. So I don't think they're going to be doing that right now. I think they're going to go ahead and push this obelisk on the bottom right away. And it looks like HK is really starting to put some cav inside of that obelisk.
I think that one of the things we found out is that a lot of people like to do what Misfits are doing right here, which is send straight a march towards the obelisk. The big problem here is that, again, it's going to be cav versus cav. And here's where that capturing the building late comes into hand, because they captured that obelisk about a minute-ish after Misfits did theirs. They're going to have to hold for another minute and 25 before they can port in here and send more reinforcements. Yep. So really, it's going to be a battle of how the Cavs can hold. I see, is that an infantry marching in? That's a range march.
Yeah, I see an archer march. Yep. I hope that doesn't go inside the obelisk.
It is.
And
it's going and it's in. I mean, it came out right away, but still, it's better than nothing being in the obelisk, right? The name of the game now is that obelisk has to stay red for another 50 seconds, or else they'll be very screwed. And they're pouring troops in there just to do that.
Yeah, they need that obelisk
very aggressive early on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's interesting. So you see this cav army from Misfits Line Division. He's got a cav group led by Double C, and he's got Minna on the back end. And then you've got on the other side Minna primary. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not Minna on the back end. That's Double C primary and Genghis on the back end. That's a solid combination right now, and you can see the damage that it's doing.
It's going crazy. I mean,
wow.
19 more seconds till people can port in here, and then the reinforcements will be a little bit easier. I see another couple of infantry marches, an infantry march starting to hit the rally itself. The problem with hitting the rally itself is that the obelisk is getting chunked. And if that obelisk falls, it doesn't matter how weak the rally is, they still reset the timer on this obelisk. So it looks like the red team is kind of focusing too much on the rally and too little on keeping their obelisk right now.
Yeah, that, and also if you just noticed, the desert altar on HK's side on the bottom has already been taken by Misfits, and that's a direct result of not having the ability of HK to actually move any of their troops forward to capture those buildings. Now, on the other side of it, on their own sky altar, they were a little late capturing that. I think that that was a little bit of a misclick on Misfits' part, but I think that was probably due to them just trying to capture as much as they can as early as possible.
I completely agree. They did pick up the top obelisk away from the red team while we were looking at I was looking at the bottom. It seems like there was a rally on both obelisks, and one of them did succeed to take the obelisk after the red marches managed to port in. This is not the worst tragedy on earth for HK, because they can still really easily get rid of the bit of troops that are in this obelisk. But they have to do this very, very quickly, or else reinforcements might come in and ports might start happening. And they really don't want the Misfits porting right behind them. That can be very bad news.
Yeah, Gekko, take a look at the middle of HK in the outpost section. Look how many armies, of HK's outpost section. Look how many Misfit armies are already at their doorpost.
Yeah, it looks like the Misfits are doing kind of trying to really steamroll early on, get as much presence on the map as they can, and suppress as much of HK altogether. Funny enough, there's an altar that was just now captured for the first time, which is really crazy. The fact that Misfits within 10 minutes, well, technically 7 minutes of the game, have already taken over a majority of the map and are looking at first occupation bonuses on all altars, both Shrines of War, and potentially 3 obelisks.
And now both Shrines of Life as well. Yep.
That's pretty crazy. Now, the top obelisk had already been first occupied by the red team, by the blue team, red team previously, sorry. So that's not a first occupation. But first occupation bonus for 4 altars, that's 750 points times 4. That's a lot of points early on, my man, to get back from.
Yeah, I agree. And you're looking at the teleports that are available. There are not many left for, well, there's 0 left for HK, and there's only 1 left for Misfit. So those obelisk captures are critical, needing to keep those and get those 1 and 2s that come along with fully capturing those.
Not only that, we can also notice that it's a small thing that's important to mention. HK are 2 players down. It's a 28 versus 30 right now. So it's not an excuse, right? But we know that that's 10 marches less on the field potentially, which can be critical for a team's victory. It looks like the Misfits really looking to just secure first occupation on everything and then from there steamroll forward. The question is whether HK are actually going to try to react to this, or have they been already overwhelmed?
Well, I mean, just put yourself in their shoes, right? You have your 2 obelisks, and you've ported to them for the most part, about half your alliance. The problem is when you go to like look for where you want to go, there's 10 armies of Misfits everywhere. Like you look to the middle, okay, Ark's starting to come up in 3 minutes. Oh crap, there's 30 armies of Misfits sitting right there. Okay, well, let's start pushing at the top. Okay, well, they're already engaging us at our cities. Let's maybe try to the bottom. Okay, so here's the obelisk. There's not much there. It looks like there's some room for them to push. However, once you go over to the Shrine of Life, look, 6 armies from Misfits and more coming behind it. So to me, if this was me in my shoes, if I was in their shoes, I would be kind of at a loss for what to do next. I would just start sending rallies until I couldn't send any more rallies. That's the only thing I could possibly do.
So that was exactly what I was about to mention. What you're saying is primarily about how to take map control and advantage once the Misfits have done what they did and spread around and just made everything look too blue to be penetrable in any way. Rallies are exactly what HK need to do. And if you look at the bottom Shrine of Life, a rally is on its way out there from a tier 5 player from HK. This is exactly the play. It's not time to get overwhelmed. It's time to send rallies out. It's time to make these solo marches focus a bit more on the buildings and on the rallies. Some of these buildings might not be as secured as they think they are, and there is potential to start diverting attention of Misfit players towards where rallies are hitting. And the great example is the Shrine of Life that is taking substantial damage and is pulling in troops from all the way from the altar to take care of it.
Yeah, I agree. You can see them coming from all directions. I see a problem, and I'm sure you do as well. That rally, and I'm sure this was probably a misclick on HK's part. This is a double C-led rally, and it's got infantry in it. That's a huge problem, especially if you're trying to take a well-defended, especially looking at a YSG being primary from a defensive standpoint. You can't, and you can see the result of it here in just a second. You can't send a mixed troop rally with improper commanders against a properly defended and well-garrisoned objective. It's just not going to be successful. It's just not.
I think that to an extent we are seeing a lack of experience from HK's side, not because they don't necessarily have the commanders or have the power or have the ability, but because it seems that when you have 10 tier 5 players on the other side, and people like Misfit Lions King, like Beta, whatever you call him, I don't even know how to say his name. Beta, yeah, and all these strong players who are not only like spenders, they know what they're doing. They've been playing this game long enough to know exactly what they're doing. And again, Misfit Lion King just sending rally after rally into that obelisk with the correct troops, with the correct everything. It's very hard to make a team like that make a mistake.
Yeah, I think the next step that's going to happen for Misfits opportunities for advancement are going to be obviously they're going to start sending some more rallies to these obelisks, and I can already see one coming in right now on the bottom one. Is there one coming on the top as well?
I cannot. I've been following King on the bottom. Let me take a look at the top.
There is.
I do see a
Yeah.
blue march walking towards there. There is a rally there, and there's a boatload of troops on the battlefield, just making sure nobody who ported in can really send troops absolutely anywhere out. Which is, it's an interesting approach because if you have the marches to spare, you can actually do what the Misfits are doing, which is pretty much block any way for people who ported to the obelisk to be useful.
Yep.
Unless it's within a rally.
Yeah, and if you want to take a look at what a properly spec'd out rally looks like, you've got a Richard Charles full infantry march hitting this bottom obelisk. Let me take a look at the top one and see if that one's hit yet. Looks like it's still on its way.
It's still on its way.
Yeah, it looks like it's quite a ways away too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's about halfway up the map. That is also a full infantry march with, that's also Richard and Charles. So again, this is what it takes to win. Obviously coordination, troop count, proper commanders, power. But the combination of all those things is what takes these alliances to the next level, and that's exactly what Misfits Alliance Division is.
Yeah, even though the top rally is not 100% full, it still is plenty of infantries to make these guys start going, oh, well, now if we don't pay attention to our cabs in this obelisk, we might have to deal with a lot of infantries getting into our obelisk right now. And the big problem is the Misfits are completely diverting HK's attention. I'm seeing so many red marches just fighting out here, not even paying attention to their own obelisk, and more coming out, that I'm really curious whether or not these guys will have the ability to, will have the troops, will have the marches, will have anything to defend this obelisk.
Yeah, just look at this one on the bottom. I mean, again, any other type of march would have been sent packing minutes ago, but they still have, and they didn't even have support right away. They still have that infantry rally up and running. It's still hitting the obelisk really hard, and it's tanking 6, 7, 8 armies that have been refreshed twice already. So, I mean, this is what you can get. And even if this doesn't succeed, which it still could succeed if it gets a reinforcement or two from the people behind him, which they should be jumping in, if they aren't already inside of that rally, this is basically occupying an entire side's forces. And again, you can jump forward and start camping the front of their base at this point with stuff like this.
So one of the things that is a misconception in this game, by the way, is the fact that an individual cannot join a rally with multiple marches. I've recently noticed that people are joining with multiple marches into rallies, and really turns out that as long as the rally is out and fighting, the rally leader can dismiss any troops at any time. So if the rally leader notices that you're going low on troops and you tell them, listen, kick me out, I have another march right next to the rally that can join, the rally leader can kick your march out and you can rejoin with a fresh new set. This is how UCS and Zod went at it for an hour and a half the other day for that one flag with 6 or 7 million dead troops. It was just straight up people joining with multiple marches into the rally and into the defense. It just requires more coordination from the rally leader.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. You learn something new every day. That's actually pretty incredible. So as long as obviously the person sending the rally, which they should be a primary point of contact anyway, is aware of what's going on, they can coordinate their reinforcements. That's really nice.
Yep. Exactly.
Wow.
It's I didn't know about it either, and then I saw that in the march I saw that in the rally by UCS there were like 6 or 7 of the same guy, and I'm like, that's impossible. And when I figured out what they did, I was like, well, what do you know? That's a new one.
Maybe it's one of those other things that Lilith decided to sneak into the game to fix stuff and never told anybody about it.
No clue, honestly. But what I can tell you is that this top obelisk is also getting just massive damage being done to it. The rally isn't as successful as the bottom one. I think the rally is taking much more damage on the top than on the bottom. But still, this obelisk will fall if the red team, if HK don't react to this right now. One of the things that Chisco and I always talked about in our duo casts is that there is acting and then there is reacting, right? You need to always find a balance between acting on your own behalf as well as reacting to what the other team is doing. So I think that right here, right now, what we're seeing is HK only reacting to Misfit's consistent pressure rather than acting on their own. And that's something that they have to get to fix if they want to get anything done.
Yeah, as soon as they saw those rallies coming in, there's a couple things that you can do, because that's obviously meant to keep you on your side of the map. That's the whole point of doing those rallies that Misfits started out with. So you can either just reinforce and then set it and forget it and start rallying yourself, or you can make sure that you immediately smack down that rally as quickly and as easily as possible, swarm it on the way, all that good stuff. Those are your only two options. You can't sit there and just continually reinforce the obelisk and let the rally eventually drop down. You can't do that. That's exactly what Misfits wanted, and that's exactly what happened. That's why they basically have the entire map at this point.
I think that to an extent, what you're saying is not only 100% accurate, but also it's a very hard thing to really understand. It's really hard to understand that if all these guys only had one march in that obelisk and they consistently refreshed the one march, then you had you had two other rallies that could come out of here towards the altars, towards the shrines, and so forth and so on. But because we have a hard time keeping up with 100 things at the same time, it's very hard to manage 5 armies. This is why the top tier alliances have team captains that they divide into teams and team captains who let their members know, listen, join these 2 rallies right now. If there was someone from HK's side doing this, all these guys near this obelisk would be joining 2 separate rallies, first of all, and secondly, defending this obelisk, and then they would be both acting and reacting at the same time.
Yeah, and that's why we've started to really make a point of presence that we're doing when we're planning our arcs is to rally our own obelisk. And the reason that there's a couple reasons for that. One, it lets us act without having to react, because we set our rally on our own obelisk, and we can forget about it because we have the proper commanders, we've got the proper troops inside that rally, and when it hits, it's already set. I don't even have to go in and change the commander. So when I do that, I can just focus on everything else that I'm doing, and like you said, not be burdened with 15 different things at once. I can be the one causing the reactions and not vice versa.
Exactly. So finally, Carry X on the top obelisk trying to take it back. This is a big problem for the red team right now because they let so many infantries into this obelisk that now it's going to require a lot of work to get those infantries out, especially when you have the likes of a Richard and Charles combination holding that obelisk. And on top of that, all these blue marches around just here to do damage. People have already been burned. 2 red cities have been ported away from just burning. So it doesn't look like the Misfits are going to have a tough time taking this. They are winning in the points per minute game by 1,000 points a minute more. They are what? 20,000, almost 20,000 points ahead, and it's only 25 minutes into the event. Are we taking a gamble on how big the gap is going to be?
I'm going to say 68 to 10.
68 to 10.
Yep. That's my.
I'm not even gonna give HK 10. I think we're gonna see probably above the 70 on the blue on the Misfit side, and maybe 7, maybe 8,000.
That's true. They've got 50 points a minute. And that's if they keep everything they have, which is probably not likely. So yeah, I probably gave them a little more credit than they were probably going to get.
Especially because even if they want the easy points, which technically speaking, the Ark of Osiris is the easy points. It is not an easy thing to get control of once there's strong people around it. But at the same time, it is like the big chunk of easy points. You just got to cross the thing, and it's 3,000, 35, 4,000, and 6,000 points a pop. or something like that. 4,500. Sorry.
Yeah, and on time, I've got a prediction. It's 30-minute mark. They're going to be at the front of their base. That's pretty much what's about to happen.
I think so too. I think we're watching a blowout right now. So let's try to make something useful out of this blowout and see where does HK come back at this point? Because obviously the match is not over. They might not win, but they could potentially attempt to come back and get their solo points and get a little bit of map control and come out with the 10,000 plus points that you originally gave them. What would you do right now in order to achieve that?
You only have one real structure left. The outpost, you can only put in a max of 500 people in it, or 500 units. I would be surrounding that obelisk and reinforcing that obelisk nonstop, reinforcing it with troops, refreshing it with troops. You get more points defending a building than you do attacking. So you want to defend a building as much as possible, and they only really have one decently sized building, and that's that obelisk.
I think that what Carrie is doing right now, for example, in the top obelisk, if you take a look at the top obelisk, Carrie X, one of their semi-tier 5 players, I don't know if with 48 million he has tier 5s or not, he launched a rally on another MISFIT that managed to port forward, a 25 million power player. And quite honestly, if you ask me, this rally should have gone to a building rather than to try to hit this guy out of here. It would be much more beneficial for his team and for this whole match if they take an altar or two and manage to make Misfits come for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, obviously, Misfits, everybody on the Misfits side needs to be looking for their 10,000 points. And then everybody on HK's side, this is a done deal. I mean, let's just be honest. This is a 22,000 point game already, and we've still got 30 minutes left. And I mean, you can throw out rally after rally after rally and probably make some things happen and maybe make some buildings change hands, at least for a little bit. You can send out a couple fast cav groups to the back and see if maybe you can capture some outposts. Maybe there's a couple buildings on the back end that are not defended where they pulled all their troops out and brought them forward. That's possible, but again, in the long run, you're not going to gain tens of thousands of points by doing that. That's a couple hundred to 1,000 point move. That's not a 22,000 point move.
Yeah, for sure. And to keep in mind that they are at a disadvantage of 1,100 points per minute versus 80. Even if right now they manage to take the whole map, even if right here, right now, HK miraculously take the whole map, that's 1,180 points across the map, period, which means that they would end up with about 36,000 points on top of what they have. So if by some miracle this happens, we're looking at what? 40,000 powers, 40,000 points, 35,000 points for the red team. If the miracle happens, and even then, all you need is for Misfits to pick up 2 arcs, and you can pretty much put that gap out the window. You know, it's like there is absolutely no point in which the points per minute game can be brought back at this point.
Yeah, and you know, just looking at the power ratings at the very beginning of the arc, I kind of saw this unfolding before my eyes before actually seeing this happen. But you know, you always never know, and you always have that hope in the back of your mind that you're going to see something special. This isn't it. There's a lot of fighting, and you know, there's obviously a lot of eye candy on the field from Misfits side and from HK side as far as gold shinies floating around everywhere killing stuff. So we're always happy about that. But as far as strategy goes, HK just did not have a strategy that was good enough to take on somebody that was probably twice their size.
And that's a very important point because someone in my chat just said, I wonder why the matchmaking is so one-sided. And I think the answer for that is it isn't as one-sided as you think. The problem with the matchmaking system, in my opinion at least, is the fact that there are too many options. When there are too many options for you to pick when to do your arc, you can get situations where one option is stacked with big alliances while the other one only had Misfit Lions and these guys as the top. Yeah. So it's just the fact that there are that many options to pick when to do arc is more harmful for a more competitive arc than it isn't. I think that the long-term play is going to be that Lilith should close out half of those options, only leave 3 options, or even no options. This is the time, this is the date, either deal with it or don't. But once that happens, I believe that the more competitive players will do whatever they can to make it at that time, and it'll make things a bit more balanced, as now we can pin the big ones against the big ones and the small ones against the small ones.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, because I see it all the time, right? You see where 100, just talking about power, not matchmaking rating, but just power. So there's 100 million alliance versus a 375 million alliance. Even on the small end, that's a huge deal. When you're talking about somebody that's over a billion, so like we were just over a billion or just under a billion, and then you had 1.3 billion, and then there was another time where it was 1.3 versus 1.8. Those aren't as bad because that's, like we talked about earlier, a lot of that's just raw troops and maybe an extra T5 or 2. That's not a huge difference. But for some of the smaller alliances that are just getting into the game, some of the later kingdoms where they've got 100 million power and that's the best they can do, and then they go up against a kingdom that's maybe in the middle who's been active for another month or two, that's a huge delta, not only from a power standpoint, but from a commander and a troop standpoint.
And from a game knowledge and from from time spent together as an alliance and synchronizing, like I can tell you that the funny thing about you guys fighting you guys is that somehow you guys and us had the same time twice, and we were the bigger guys, and therefore we got matched.
Yeah,
that's all of it. And you guys had after we lost to you guys last time around, it was very clear that we have to get on Discord, something we had never done before. And this time around, we worked on Discord, which is why the game looks completely different.
Yeah.
It goes to show that with every arc you lose, you learn something, and that's why losing an arc is actually not a bad thing. I think that anyone who hasn't lost an arc is in a more disadvantage than people who have, because you now know where you messed up. What are the pressure points that people can push on to get you to lose? So I think that in this case, though, there's nothing for HK really to learn, because they were just completely overwhelmed. They could learn how they could have reacted differently, but I don't think they could have changed the outcome of this fight. I think they could have delayed it by maybe 10 or so minutes.
Yeah, there's not much that could have been done. You're absolutely right. And as far as learning from your experiences, I mean, that's how we learn in life. That's how we learn in the game. The really good ones are the ones that are able to adapt quickly and adjust. And the reason that alliances like ours, right, are so successful is because we're able to do that. We see a problem, we see a challenge, we see a solution because we have knowledge of the game. We have people around us who we've known for ages, right? We've known them for months and months and months, and we've played alongside of them inside of our respective kingdoms for months and months and months, and we've fought with the people that we've been fighting against inside of our kingdoms for months and months and months. So you develop that camaraderie. I can't stress enough how many times I just leave sections of things to other players that are in my alliance because I know it's going to get done. If you listen to the discords inside of our alliance arcs, it's, hey, Pitt, go rally that. Cool. And everybody already knows what needs to be sent, which building's going to get rallied. And I don't have to say it. I don't have to type it out on top of it on a marker. I don't have to do any of that. That frees me up to do those plays that you keep bringing up where I come around and I take that outpost, or I'm already inside the center before you guys were, because I was already at that point in my mind where if I didn't have that free time, I wouldn't be. I'd still be managing, typing in pit boss, rally this,
Yeah, so it gets to a point where you need to have a strong core.
Yep.
A strong core of players that they know they know what their job is. You delegate essentially the work among the people, and you know who is who, and who needs to do what. Sometimes though, when you get steamrolled like this, it's very intimidating. It very quickly makes you think that everything you're doing is completely wrong, and that's not necessarily what's happening here. I think that HK, I think I've casted HK fighting someone else before, because their name is very familiar to me. HK have not done anything wrong, in my opinion. I think that they just are overwhelmed by sheer brute force of tier 5 marches. And the only thing that I guess they slipped on is that they didn't counter react to those first like few rallies. They got really sucked into those obelisk rallies over and over and didn't achieve anything else but defending the obelisk once or twice.
Yeah, and at this point, obviously, like we see now, it's pretty much just gate bashing. They can't make it out of their own city. It's going to be difficult for them to send a rally now because they've only got one outpost, and you obviously can't have cities around that. So, yeah, they're going to have to fight their way out, which I don't see happening because of all the things we just talked about. You just you can't beat out against superior numbers and power and commanders like this without making a massive one push with rallies behind it. The only way you could break out of something like this, just for those of you that are in this situation before, would be to double rally. You're going to double rally the opponent, the opposite sides of the map. So double rally both obelisks. That will split the forces, and then that will allow you to get out fast cavs if you've got a Belisarius double C group, or vice versa. And then maybe you can start taking and harassing their outposts in the back with that group. Those rallies are not going to make it, by the way, so don't pretend like they will, but it will let you get out some fast armies that may make it past anybody that can chase them.
Yeah, the name of the game here is distraction. You gotta always be able to distract your team to the team that's against you to react to what you're doing and keep them away from paying attention to what they should be paying attention or to what they want to be paying attention. So by sending those two rallies, like you mentioned, you're gonna distract the misfits who are hungry for kills at the door to target those rallies, and those rallies might make it 10, 15, 20 feet away from the gate and pull all these marches with them, and with that sneak out the troops, just like you mentioned. It's a distraction method, essentially. You're not looking at winning with those arcs, with those marches, but you're looking at least distracting the misfits a little bit and try to get out of this full blue map, because
yeah, it's looking like an ocean wave of blue has taken over this entire arc map. And yeah, I mean, you can see the armies, right? So there's siege, there's mixed troop armies, there's very, very small armies. I mean, at this point, they're not healing, which they shouldn't be. Don't waste your healing speed ups. Don't waste any of that stuff. Just have some fun, get some kills, try and get your 10,000 points however you can. You're not going to get it by capturing buildings, so you might as well go out and kill some folks and see if you can get your 10,000 points.
Yeah, that, and of course we're seeing an unfortunate situation where this is really something that bugs me. Right now, a new combatant joined HK, but for the longest time they've been fighting 28 against 30. Just to remind you folks, we have now the ability to field 10 subs, 10 like players on standby waiting to join the Ark. It is a little bit sad to have 28 versus, or 29 now versus 30 when you had the ability to have 10 players on standby. I do not believe HK don't have the manpower to man at least 5 standby players and 2 of them making it into the Ark. So that's, I think, another one kind of to show you the state of HK.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, right, so we know that Misfit's line of vision is Kingdom 93. If I had to guess, I would say this is at least late 100s, early 200s alliance would be my guess, just based off of what I'm seeing on the field.
I think you're not wrong. I have met these guys before. I don't know where, but I have met these guys before. Let's see if we can find something in there. Kingdoms 56.
56?
Yes.
Oh, these guys are behind.
56.
These guys are behind. I will say they're also on the same continent as Chisco, yes or no? Or is that the one after it?
Yeah, no, that is they're the last kingdom in Chisco's continent. Ours starts at 57.
I've got a player on my stream that's saying Kingdom 68. Oh, okay, 56. Okay, he got corrected. So it is 56. You are
on
right.
their board it says recruiting for Kingdom 56.
There you go. Unless they're wrong. That's
I
the only way.
hope they know which kingdom
Yeah.
they're in.
Well, I mean, looking at this arc, I don't know. We'll see.
Someone asked in my chat, what's your stance on counter rallying? What do you mean by counter rallying? Are you talking about rallying a rally? Adam?
That's probably either that or swarming a rally are the two options for that.
I think that rallying a rally is something that doesn't happen enough. I think that rallying a rally is something that doesn't happen enough. If you know that you're about to take a big hit on that obelisk of yours and you already poured it in, swarming a rally versus rallying a rally can be very, very detrimental. Because remember that at the end of the day, even though you are attacking an attack with 5 marches, the rally is counterattacking 5 marches versus attacking with 1 rally and getting counterattacked 1 time.
Yeah, I agree. There's a situation for everything, right? I mean, and this is again where your situational awareness is key. By the way, somebody did end up making it out and capturing that back left obelisk. It looks like they're about to take it back, which they just did. But looks like, let me give them a little bit of kudos there. It was Ava Bella, I think is the name. Looks like they had a little bit of fast
cav. I
cav.
agree. That's managing to sneak out of the doors and making it through all the way to the back to just be a little bit of a nuisance is nice. I'm seeing a lot of frowny faces. Oh, they're fighting. Oh my goodness, they surrounded a tier 5 player, player right above the bottom obelisk, and they're swarming the life out of him. He's been taking massive raw hits though. Ooh. He's hitting hard. I see a lot of frownies from MFLD walking back. I don't think he'll be able to hold for that much longer though.
Oh no, not at all.
I mean, he still racked up 2.4 million kills for this, so.
Yeah, so while you were looking at that, which it looks like he went ahead and maybe did some healing, so he's back up and running. But while you were looking at that, I was looking inside of their base, and looks like one of the Misfits folks was able to sneak one of their maxed YSGs inside, and was having quite the heyday with all the AoEs going off, and got himself quite a few kills before he got hit off as well. So. Being a T5 player myself, I always relish the chance when we get to this point in the match, if this is what ends up happening, to have the opponent drag my armies, especially my Richard Charles group and my YSG Julius. Just get me in there as far as possible, and I'll hit the camp button, and y'all have fun. That's usually how that works out for me. And that's when I usually have 6, 7, 8 million kills inside of one arc, is when that happens.
Yeah, and this Senescence guy, or whatever his name is, tier 5 player getting hit, he's doing damage. He's at 2.8 million kills just from watching this. That Sun Tzu doing work, doing some AoE damage, just getting rid of more and more marches. It's actually very impressive how many marches have gone frowny faced thanks to this one dude.
Yeah, it looks like is that a Sun Tzu Minamoto? Is that what's happening?
It looks like that. I'm trying to see it when it procs. But the damn elephant from all these freaking Hannibals.
There's so many Barcas.
So many Barcas. And finally this guy gets 0.
Yep.
And is gone.
So that was Beta, that was Geo, Lady Dragon, Richard, Misfits Lion King, of course, Chubby Ninja, Richard 420.
So many tier 5s. Look at them. They're all ported right there. We're talking Beta with 86 million power and 3.2 million kills. Geo with 1.5 million kills. Misfits Lion King with almost 5 million kills. Lady Dragon with 2.1 million kills. As you know, the kill counts on their cities are only for Ark of Osiris. So all of this was obtained while fighting. All of this bottom obelisk crew are above 1 million kills. Except for maybe Siam the Warrior. All of them are rocking the 2 mil, 4.6 mil kills for FinFET. Just
looking at some of the points right now, there's basically a 3-way race for first place. Misfits Lion King leading that at 66.8, followed very closely by FinFET and 5-5 Open with 61.8 and 61.3 respectively. They are close enough to make Misfits Lion King have a little run for his money. Let's see if Misfits wants to go towards the front with 15 minutes left and start racking up some more kills, getting that personal score up a little bit.
I'm seeing they did fix the scoreboard now, and we're seeing on HK side only 11 out of 29 have crossed the 10,000 point mark, which means they have to step up a little bit to get their solo points out of the way. I'm seeing that 21 out of 30 out of 29 made it beyond the 6,000 mark, which is fantastic, and only 2 of the 29 are below the 4K minimum. So this is the time where you send, these are anyone below the 10,000 points and with troops in the city is doing it wrong. There's absolutely no reason for you to be under 10,000 points and having troops alive.
Yeah, lots of text running across the screen. Some of it I understand, some of it I don't. Otherwise, though, I mean, there's tons of misfits inside the city now, inside the base.
Oh, you have the chat enabled?
Yeah, it's scrolling some text across.
I disabled that. If you want to disable it, it's the second where it says tap there to input, the right next to the message thingy. If you click on that, it'll make this text on the screen go away.
There you go.
Yeah, after a little bit of very bad words scrolling on my chat the other day, I learned to disable that.
Gotcha. Here's Geo and basically at least one army from every alliance member from Misfits trying to get a little bit of a tag on Ava Bella trying to make it out, and looks like she might have been trying to go get another building on the back end, but she did not make it. She had some siege in there, she had some cav in there, couple infantry folks in there, so didn't make it too far. But yeah, this is pretty much a done deal. They got 13 minutes left. They're creeping towards that 5,000 point mark, and that is 0 points per minute for HK at the moment.
Well, they did not cross the 8,000 points that I gave them.
Yeah, I was way too high.
No, it was just looking at the points per minute game, and it's just like they're not doing anything, so it's kind of pointless. And Misfits with 3 arcs already in.
Yeah, I mean, have they? I don't think they've even lost one, have they? They maybe won, if that. Misfits.
I don't know what the record is. If they haven't won, that's a good record. But it's bound. I think it's bound to happen eventually, especially if you're someone who matches against stronger alliances. One of the things that at High we have done quite a couple of times now is match up against you guys twice. We matched up against JWM once. And these are losses to players. These are losses to strong players. These are things that made us grow as players and as an alliance. And I think to a certain extent, the Misfits right now aren't necessarily in a need for something like that. But it's always important also to to challenge yourself, to push yourself to fight against someone who is you can go toe to toe with, like we have been doing in the past couple of arcs.
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 arcs that we've done have been the most intense that we've had for quite some time. I mean, we've been going up against other alliances that are higher power than us, but we usually have about the same amount of T5. So it's usually pretty much because of our strategy, because of our core and our leadership and the coordination that we've got, even though it's an even match from a T5 standpoint and they've got maybe 100 to 200 million power more than we do, it still ends up being kind of a cakewalk because of how well we organize together and how well we work together. With you guys, it was not only that power, but you guys had raw T5. I mean, you guys got a really solid core of T5 players that know how to play the game, can give and follow direction, and can coordinate. And a couple things needed to come together for you. And I will say this, at the beginning of this last arc that we just had, man, I was already on my heels when the game first started. When you sent that rally and towards our obelisk and then broke it off right at our altar, that put me on my heels. I mean, that was not something I was expecting. I was expecting you to send it and make that altar hit, or I'm sorry, make that obelisk get hit. And I was prepared for that. And my next steps that I was already taking were in assumption of that happening. And when you didn't do that, I had to scramble a little bit.
The game.
Yeah, I had to scramble a little bit.
Yeah, so that's how actually the funny thing is we ended up with first occupation on 3 altars, and it was exactly that. We were the name of the game is always keep your opponent second guessing their own moves. The more second guessing your own moves you're doing, the less moves you actually make. So it was one of those things that I told PC and who was leading the other rallies, like, listen, we're going to send 2 rallies. These guys are going to be like, okay, let's stick some troops in here. We're good. We good to go. And these are troops right now that are not going to be moving on the map. So we're going to lock in at least 5 to 10 marches in those obelisks that are not going to have any use once we break this rally, because we're going to be out positioning them. So these are things that like need to be perfected, because even raw tier 5s cannot do much if they are by themselves. Yep. This is a team game, and we did find ourselves in situations where it was, because you only get 20 ports and you have 12 tier 5s, all of a sudden some tier 4 players get a little anxious and port in early.
Yep,
or people don't divide exactly like 50-50 through the sides. These are things that you improve as you keep losing, essentially. If things work, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Yep. And that's why we're happy that when we lose. Like we were sitting there screaming, stop that march. It's like our goal was literally, listen, when that thing when the Ark showed up, there were 8 minutes on the timer.
Yep.
8 minutes. And we sat there and we're like, listen, whatever you do, we do not let them march that damn Ark. For 7 minutes and 20 seconds, we waited for you guys to pick it up and targeted the one dude. And it was just like every march that went and hit your Ark carrier was dead, right? Because you guys had so much power there that it was barely drop the Ark and you're done. Mm-hmm. So it was very, very intense. And we were sitting there, and the moment that happened, I think half of us were like, we can't even get mad at that. That was the craziest thing we've done in a while. We can't get mad at this. This is like awesome. We literally sat there and we're like, well, this was cool as frick, except for the fact that we lost, but whatever.
Yeah, I know that my video was really glitchy, and I'm still kicking myself for that. But if you're going to watch anything, you got to watch the last, basically once it hits an hour. That's when what you just talked about, that slow march with that Ark all the way to the outpost. That was a 7 minute and 20 second march, like you said. Longest 7 minutes and 20 seconds of my life. And yeah, again, just super intense. That's why we play the game, right? It's a team game. We rely on our teammates to be successful. And this was one of those times where we were positioned in the right place at the right time with the right people. And it was just a matter of somebody was going to get it. It was either going to happen or it wasn't. And I think it just worked out in our favor because, one, there were so many armies there. You guys probably had a hard time selecting the guy, to be honest with you.
The last one we couldn't even touch.
Yeah, I was going to say,
get to him.
He just walked right on over. I was like, there's no way that happened on purpose. It was just probably hard to click him.
It was impossible to click him. That's something that I had mentioned in a video in streams in the past, is that having a designated Ark guy is not a bad thing, and this is where a tier 4 with a good amount of troops but not that much power can come in handy. Because if you get 4 marches of the same guy in a cluster while one of them is picking up the Ark, then now you don't really know if you clicked the right one. We actually had that happen in the Ark today, where one of your guys picked up the Ark in those 7 minutes, and he had 3 marches right next to each other, and one of our tier 5 started the wrong march. So it's really like, it was super intense like that. And quite honestly, if I were to say where the mistake happened, the mistake was done by me, because I saw that you guys were invading like crazy the center, and we said, listen, let's send as many marches as we can, but keep an eye on the buildings still, because we were still not at an advantage where we could let go of the buildings. If I had called let go of the buildings maybe like 30 seconds earlier, things would have been completely different. But you know, it's not taking the fault, it's not taking the blame, it's just trying to, figure out how we do it again. For me, it was the first time I coordinated Ark, so obviously I have way more to learn than this, and hopefully the next time we meet, it'll be just as exciting, and maybe even we can get a little win for a change.
Third time's a charm.
Hey, I never know.
I will say you guys were spanking us pretty hard at the beginning. We were down by, what was it, 7,000, 8,000 points, and the per minute was probably double on your side, right? I mean, you guys were steamrolling pretty early there because of how organized you were now with the Discord and getting that stuff together. And then I'll say this also. So we did a completely off the wall strategy because we knew we were going to be overwhelmed with T5. So we did something that I've never done before. So it was a new strategy for us. I just had 6 players on my side on the top, and we had 23, 24 players on the bottom. And the whole idea was to sweep the bottom and then come around the back and then use that 23, 24 player side. Good night, Little Marie. To kind of come around the back end and take the arc. That never ended up happening. The 24 player side, 23 player side, whatever it ended up being, they couldn't get past your second layer. They couldn't get past your altar and shrine. So they were rallying your obelisk and almost taking it, but then the reinforcements weren't there. And then that would also push it back to your second layer. So then that left Pit Boss and I, with a couple other players to just defend an entire side by ourselves. So that's where you started taking the altar and the shrine, and you had your buildings already locked up. And then you already had your outposts locked up. And that's where that delta came in. So I got to the point where I was like, well, if we're going to do something, let's just do something. So I took all 5 of my armies, and I plunked them right in the middle of the arc and started pushing your guys back. I couldn't believe how little people were there. I thought you were going to have 10 T5 players there, at least. Because that was the only way we could have won.
I completely agree. To a certain extent, we realized that a little bit too late. I think that to a point, there's a thing that needs to be said about a tier 5 player. Okay. Say 11 tier 5 players were present on the field. They were, but out of those, 2 only had one type of tier 5 and not even a full march. So it's not a matter of excuses. It's not a matter of, but there's a difference between a player like you and a player who is 50, 60, 52, 55, 60 million power. 100%. You can allow yourself a full 5 sets of tier 5 marches and more, you know?
Right.
So to an extent, some of the tier 5s that we had their tier 5s in attacking buildings and going for the main stuff. In the first arc, neither of us even cared for. I don't know if you noticed, but first arc that came out, Turin picked it up and Turin walked back home by himself.
Yeah, we didn't even touch it.
I only noticed he picked it up when he was like almost out of the
Yeah, I noticed that then too. I saw the arc marching across the map. I'm like, what is going on right now?
When did this happen?
Yeah, I didn't even know it spawned.
That's where, for example, having, as you guys said, you guys have your 3 teams and you have 3 team captains who know how to lead their people. And then you have those 3 people coordinating each side. It's a little bit harder when there's only 1 or 2 people calling the shots, especially when you have an alliance that is international, that you need to talk a bit slower, that you need to really that's where your core comes in. That is very, very good. Your core of the leadership, which are very strong, very capable players who are also mostly English speaker. It helps a lot that 2 seconds of like, I need this march here, I need this march there to not happen, you know?
Yeah. Any streamlining you can do is beneficial. And you're absolutely right. So the differences between T5s, that's critical. You really got 3 layers, right? You got your 30 to 50, which is you've unlocked T5. When I say 30, 38 to 50, you've unlocked T5, and you're starting to get some troops. Don't have a full troop yet as far as a full march, but you're getting there. Then you've got that 60 to 70-ish range where you've probably got a full march of troops of T5, but you don't have either a whole lot of them or half of them are T4, half of them are T5. And then you've got 75 plus, which everything's T5, and it's just a matter of how many troops you have at that point as to how high your number's going to go. We had me. That was the only one we had today. The first one we had, I want to say 4. So we had 4 proper T5s 2 weeks ago, and then we had 1 today. It was me. Everybody else was in that 60 range, and Same thing on your
But
side.
look
You
at
had
how much
50 to
damage
60.
you did. You
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
As you said, and as this victory rolls on our screen, the Misfits take this pretty easily.
5-5 open. Ended up
5-5
taking
open, taking it from the King.
Wow.
29 million kills on their side. 78,000. Who said? One of us said something similar. 78,000 to 5,000 points. Provisions were the main point givers for HK.
Look at those kills. 29 million kills.
Look at the heals. Barely 2 million.
I mean, when you've got 3 million T5 troops, probably don't need to heal very much.
Yep. Well, GG's to both sides, HK and MFLD. This was a very one-sided landslide, and it's unfortunate that happens, but it is what it is. Hopefully next time we'll get to dual cast a much more intense, more exciting arc. I can tell you a couple of things off the bat. We have a couple of interesting arcs happening today still, as JWM still have to play and UCS still have to play. There is also potentially another good arc coming up later tonight, the final slot. Lots of good Arc Osiris is happening. And have you heard about Arc Osiris League?
I have. I've been taking a look at your channel, and you've got your Ark of Osiris League where you can sign up.
No, but not by me. So one of the things that, I've always had like this little bird in Lilith Gaming's like offices. It sits outside by the window and listens in. And one of the things that I've been hearing is that there is talks and there is work into making Ark of Osiris a little bit more competitive, a little more streamlined, including like a proper set of like an actual
like a global ranker kind of thing. Wow.
So there is a lot to look forward for. Those of you who like HK who took a big loss or have taken losses like I have, like JWM did with UCS, this is the time to start taking the L's and learn how to get better, because once that kicks in, it's going to be every win and every loss will matter a lot.
No, I totally agree. And if that ends up coming to fruition, that'd be fantastic. I would love to see kind of similar to like, other types of games like first-person shooters where you've got global rankers. This is the best player, this is the best alliance, this is the best kingdom. I mean, that would be fantastic. Just like you have in the Lost Kingdom, that'd be a really cool piece of Arc strategy and Arc competitiveness to go after. And I guess I'll take that as another Gekko leak, yeah?
I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll take what I can get at this point.
I didn't do that. But regardless, hopefully you and I will meet each other at some point when we get flown out to China to duocast live from their set or something like that, Yeah, chat, make that happen.
Sounds like a plan, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Well, hopefully next time we duocast, we'll find something a little more interesting that we'll have a lot to talk about. I'm going to head out of here while I still can. The VOD will be available today for anyone who wants to watch this complete steamrolled madness that happened.
Yeah.
Dragotian, thanks appreciate your time. Hopefully next time we get a little bit luckier.
Yeah, no, we'll be good. And I'll talk to you later.
See you, man. Take it easy. Chat, you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your night.
Yep, appreciate y'all. All right, guys. So still live streaming with you. Misfits, I'll let him know that you said hello. Obviously, that was an absolute curb stomping from Misfit Line Division. And a lot of that had to go to strategy. And a lot of that had to go to just overwhelming power. There's a lot of things to be said when it comes to bringing all the pieces together to have a proper team in Arc. And if what Gekko said was true, where there's going to be some kind of a league where there's going to be rankers alongside of not just personal rankers, but alliance and kingdom and high scores and highest arc score, kind of like what you have in your kingdom, where, well, I don't know if it'll let me, it won't let me show it off this account, but when you go into your alliance rankings or your kingdom rankings and they've got all these different types of things, they can do that with Arc. That would be so cool. Another way to really be competitive with people and get kind of together with folks that aren't necessarily on your server, or on your kingdom or even on your continent, and you can kind of start reaching out to some of these people and seeing what they're doing, and you can share your best practices. And those are kind of things that I do in my real life and my career world, what I do. So, I mean, things like that would be really neat in this game too. I think that would be a huge benefit to everybody. But let's fix matchmaking rating first, please. That sounds like a plan. Keish, Kantar, please give me a shout out. There's your shout out, buddy. Skywalker, I'll have my T5 ready for the league. Just 18 million more power to go. Yeah, just a little bit. Fred Harris, welcome to the stream, bud. I appreciate you. So I'm not going to be streaming for too much longer. It's running up on an hour and 40 minutes, and we did go through a significant pregame, and then also we did the whole arc. And that whole arc, again, was a complete steamrolling. They definitely put the screws to HK. I was a little surprised at HK being from Kingdom 56. That is a kingdom that has been out for, I want to say, at least a couple months longer than Kingdom 93, which is where MISFIT Line Division is from. And man, I mean, you should have a little bit more commanders leveled up, more troops, a little bit better strategy at this point. I would think. I mean, not to bash HK because it was a bad beating, but at the same time, I mean, the earlier the kingdom, generally, you're gonna just have more to play with because you've been playing for longer. You've had more experience. You've had more time to level your commanders up. You've had time to level your skills up. Things like that. More troops, all those good things. So, hopefully that's something to kind of take into account. That being said, not every alliance in the earlier kingdoms are top 4, top 5 alliances. Some of them are top 20, and that probably is a top 10, or a 10 to 20 ranked alliance on their server, I'd imagine. So they just got a bad deal getting dealt Misfits Line Division. So, we'll see how it works. Beta did some really good rallies in there. I saw dual rallies going to obelisks, and it was a really interesting one to watch towards the beginning. And then once we got towards about the back half of that arc, I just parked the camera right at the front of their base because that's all that was really happening at that point. And Gekko and I started talking about what works, what doesn't work, what would you do in this situation. And then also we started talking about the arc that we had earlier today, where it was a classic, intense blast like it always is. So good stuff. And again, congratulations to MISFIT Line Division for their significant undefeated streak. They are also undefeated just like we are. So, looking forward to seeing them make some more casts in the future for them, and partnering up with other content creators in the future as well to do things like that. I think there's some value to that. We learned something today, right? You can reinforce with the same person. The commander of the rally just needs to kick that person from the group. Who knew? I didn't know that. So we learn things, right? We learn things every day. I mean, I've been playing this game for 7 months, and that's something I didn't know. I don't know if that's a new addition or what, but that's new to me. So a couple questions about the continent for 107. It looks like it's going to be a blast. I believe Last Swagger is also on that continent, so looking forward to seeing him bring some content to his channel. So we can showcase some fights between the folks that you just saw steamroll this arc, MISFIT Line Division, going up against Last Swagger and his kingdom. Look forward to seeing some videos on that. Hopefully I can get elbow in on that a little bit and see if I can get some content for you guys with fights like that. It'll have to be a little bit later because they're on the opposite sides of the map. So it's going to take a little while for them to meet in the middle. Everything needs to unlock as the weeks go on. So that's how the Lost Kingdom works. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We're just starting to talk about just random stuff at this point. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the pre-arc chat, the actual arc commentary, the dual cast between Gekko and I. Just all kinds of crazy stuff happened. I want to change the title of my stream just so that I can put Gekko in there as well because he jumped in. We made it work at the last second, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, this is your boy Dragothian here. I'm gonna go ahead and sign out and let y'all go for the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've got barbs to kill and I've got forts to rally. We're gonna make this happen and hopefully finish stage 2 for you guys. And if I do, I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna start pounding that sculpture button and start getting some more legendary sculptures. So hope you all enjoy. Have a good day. I'll see y'all later. Cheers. Take care.